Welcome back. Time for this week's Capitol Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitolBeatOK.com. Pat, what's the state of opinion among the energy industry leaders, state officials concerning the proposed EPA regulations on emissions, which were issued on Monday?
Yeah, the proposed regulations were issued Monday. There's a almost 6-month period allowed for comments. Bottom line is they lay out an objective for Oklahoma to cut emissions by 35% between now and 2030, and the national average, because it does vary some from state to state, to cut it by 30%. Now, Ken Miller was the treasurer, agreed with many others in saying that he was cautiously optimistic that this was something that could be absorbed by the economy and by Oklahoma regulators. The Oklahoma Environmental Secretary, Environment and Energy, Michael Teague, was actually kind of upbeat because he thinks they've had time to get ready and that the federal government has listened to their concerns. He says there's a conversation, not necessarily a mandate. On the flip side, though, Cason Carter, who's with one of the coal companies based out of Tulsa that does some work here but does work nationwide, he said this is going to cause a lot of pain economically for virtually no gain. Attorney General Scott Pruitt, who we've discussed here before, has fought some of the previous EPA regs and litigated even. He said this needed to be an inside the fence approach to regulation, meaning let the states continue to set their own framework. Well, then theoretically it does, but he says that the mandate is not reachable, so he was very critical. Americans for Prosperity, he said everybody's bills are going to go up. John Tidwell, the president of AFP Oklahoma, said everybody's bills are going to go up, and for what? National Review Online had a very critical analysis, saying pretty much the same thing. Okay, so you have a division of opinion, even here in Oklahoma, among people who are pro-energy and normally agree. I think the reason for that, it looks to me like it's a clash of pragmatism. You know, hey, we fought them, we've lost, we got to move on, versus those that want to just keep waging the battle.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll talk about this more in the future.
Sure.
Now, speaking of Ken Miller, the state treasurer reported this week that state government tax revenues continued to grow, but that may not have been the most interesting thing that he had to say. Yeah,
he said the economy's booming, so state government tax revenues are continuing to go up. However, in dialogue with the reporters, he began to lay out the details from his perspective, and it looks like he's right, that actual state spending went up slightly despite all of us thinking that it was going to go down about, almost a couple $100 million. How did that happen? Well, the legislature tapped a variety of revolving and reserve funds for a total of $254 million. And in addition, they assigned $47 million to the Healthcare Authority in this budget year, but told them they couldn't spend it until next year. Now, John Blatt of the Oklahoma Policy Institute, a liberal analyst, was very critical of the process, and so was Jonathan Small. He said it's the most egregious budget games yet. So when you have those guys agreeing, something's going on.
Right. You can read more about these and other topics at CapitolBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a great day.